So if you're trying to succeed in wholesaling, there are a few critical mistakes that can guarantee that you're not going to be successful. And the sad part is that most people don't even see them coming. And the truth is that right now you could be self-sabotaging your success and not even know it. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the key reasons why real estate wholesalers fail and how you can avoid falling into the same trap. And what you're about to learn could be the difference between you closing deals and you just walking away empty-handed out of this business and never really make it. So let's dive into the first mistake. So problem number one is inconsistent lead generation. I get a lot of investors that come to me because they're interested in finding motivated sellers using online marketing, such as Facebook, TikTok, Google, etc. And I always talk to them and I figure out like, okay, what do you do now? And I always hear the same thing. They're doing either cold calling, and they're struggling with the fact that they're spending a tremendous amount of time on the phone with a lot of rejection, and they're not getting that many prospects. That's number one. They're spending time on marketing strategies that require a ton of money, but yet they're not getting the output in terms of the lead generation. They are struggling with going after a lot of free methods that end up, again, same as cold calling, taking up a lot of time and yet not really producing any results. And so you got a combination of a few things that are happening here. Number one is you don't have enough incoming leads, so you don't have a volume of leads. But then you're also continually on this marketing hamster wheel of trying to figure out, okay, I tried this thing, this didn't work. Let me try something else. Let me try something else. And if you are committed to say one particular strategy, let's say cold calling, then you're forced to spend a tremendous amount of your personal time and energy into getting that channel to work, and almost like you have no time for anything. And then also the frustration that comes along with that, because then not only is it that you're spending a lot of time, but you're not getting the output, and so that becomes a big problem. So for most real estate investors, most of you are trying to fix that problem, and that is the number one problem you should solve. Right? Not becoming an expert real estate investor, not learning a gazillion other strategies on how to do deals and be a transaction engineer, nothing like that. You need large amounts of leads coming in. And so what is it when I say a large amount of leads? What does that mean? On average, I would say, and again, this depends on your budget, and I'm just giving you kind of my framework from whenever we're helping clients advertise online. We're talking about anywhere on average of about 3 leads a day. Now you may think, well, gee, 3 leads a day isn't that much. Well, it depends. That lead flow could be one lead today, but maybe 4 or 5 tomorrow. And what ends up happening is that those leads stack on each other, and that means that, say, over a period of 2 weeks, now at the end of 2 weeks, you've been generating 3 leads a day. And that depends again on the budget. You could certainly generate a lot more, but let's just use the number 3. So that means that then 7 times 3, that's 21. You got about 40 leads or so after 2 weeks. And then now think about it this way. Then you're following up on leads. You're trying to put properties on a contract. You're maybe perhaps trying to sell properties. Plus then you have new leads coming in as well each and every single day. You're quite busy. So 3 leads may not seem like much in the very beginning, but little by little, then you end up being quite busy. So my advice is that's the target. You need 3 leads a day as a beginning real estate investor. Now, on the flip side, you don't want too many leads, because if you get too many leads, then you're going to end up just not following up with people appropriately. You're not going to be able to, you're going to have things fall through the cracks. I had a call with an investor where he was generating way too many leads, and then he fell behind. And he told me, hey, I spoke with a few people that told me, hey, I sold the property already, and I looked at the lead and I said, oh my gosh, that was a great opportunity. I should have taken advantage of it. So, there is a side to too many leads. Now, let's say you fix that problem. You're like, okay, Chico, I got incoming leads. What's the next problem? Well, problem number 2 is poor negotiation skills. Because at the end of the day, you could, and I see this happen all the time. We generate leads for clients, and we get their Facebook ad campaigns or TikTok or whatever up and running. But then now they're fumbling the leads. And when I say poor negotiation skills, I'm placing them under that umbrella. But really what I mean is a variety of different things. I mean, number 1 is the right words to say. So do you have scripts that speak to the client in the way that they need to be spoken, the things to say to them So that way now they feel that you're competent, they feel like you know what you're doing, and then also you're walking them through the process. That's number one. Then the second thing under that umbrella would be how you sound. So that also is equally important. Most people don't pay attention to that. But, you know, and when I say how do you sound, what's your tonality like? Do you sound monotone? Do you sound like you're half asleep? Do you mumble your words? You don't sound clear. You know, when you're on the phone with a property owner, you have to understand that, especially if you're on the phone, you know, it's a very analog device. So it's going to bring down the energy level. So, you know, you really have to force yourself to be more energetic and more enthusiastic than you normally would feel comfortable with in regular life, because then that's going to be, that's going to, when they hear it on the other side, it's going to automatically, the phone is actually going to bring it down a couple notches. And you'd rather err, if given the choice, right? You'd rather err on the side of more energetic and more enthusiastic than less, right? That you're always going to win there. So again, that is, you know, all that, right? That concept of the right words and the tonality, that then builds rapport and authority with the seller to allow you then to have the opportunity to then, you know, potentially take advantage of a deal once it comes across your plate. The next problem is the inability to analyze deals correctly. I get hit up all the time on Instagram, on the different social channels. People saying, Chico, I have such great leads. If only I need help with the buyers. And then I look at the deals. I said, well, send me a sample deal. I look at it and I say, there's no deal here. I don't know what you're thinking, but this is not a deal. So that's a problem, right? It's a problem because of a variety of different things. Number one is that then you're giving, when you can't analyze deals correctly, you can't sift and sort leads correctly. And that may not seem like a problem initially if you don't have that many leads, but when you fix the problem of lead generation and now, and you're better on the phone, that's going to automatically increase your opportunities. But not every lead is an opportunity. That means that if you got 20 leads, the majority of them are crap. 5 of them might be good. And then a few handful of those 5 are ones that you're going to potentially try to put on a contract. But what happens is that if you can't analyze yours correctly, then you're not being able to to determine, okay, what is a good opportunity or not. Because some sellers are going to be high, some sellers are going to be completely unreasonable. And then you get those sellers that are a little bit reasonable, they're below market, you know, in terms of the pricing. And so now you just have to go negotiate just a little bit in order to get them down on price to where we need them to be. The other part of the inability to analyze deals correctly is that then it puts a filter on your lead source, right? And you might say, oh, though, you know, that lead source doesn't work. Why? Because I put up a lot of properties in the contract and they did not sell. The problem with that is that you could have put them on the contract at the wrong price, or you could have thought that deals that were deals were not deals, like, and vice versa. So at the end, like, you let opportunities slip through the cracks, and so that marketing channel is viable. It just happens to be that you're analyzing everything incorrectly. And then the other part of analyzing deals correctly is getting the right price with the seller initially. Because then if you negotiate with the property owner, you get a particular price, you end up figuring out that it's way too much. Now you got to go back and renegotiate. And so now you lost time on your inspection period, and or maybe the seller's now ticked off because they didn't expect that. They thought that you were going to give them whatever they wanted. And so at the end, now you potentially might even lose your deal. And so the ability to analyze deals correctly is key. And now the other layer of complexity is that if you're operating like us, where you're doing deals nationwide across a variety of different states, then that becomes a little bit more difficult, because now you have the nuances of, okay, how do you analyze deals in a variety of different areas that I've never seen before? That might be a topic for another video, but you have to be able to get good at analyzing deals accurately and quickly. Let's go to number 4. And number 4 is, even if you fixed everything else before, you got good lead flow, you're great on the phone with sellers, you're great at analyzing deals correctly, you need the buyers. Because you could have the most amazing deal, but at the end of the day, if you can't sell it, you can't find a buyer, then it's just not going to work. Now in the description, I have a link for the two different software databases that we use in order to find buyers. There are different price points, but you can certainly take a look at them. But you know, the buyers list is important, and it's also important to have the right buyers that you're working with. On our side, we're doing deals nationwide. So we're doing deals in markets that we've never heard about before, and we're also doing deals with buyers that we've never worked with before. As a result of that, then we have to be really careful about the buyers that we are going to do deals with. We don't want problems at the last minute. And so we'd rather take a sure deal with a cash buyer than a higher price and then potential problems at the end of the transaction. So the way we circumvent that, or circumvent any problems, is that we're always looking to work with experienced investors that have already worked with wholesalers, so they know exactly how transactions go down and know the nuances regarding a wholesale transaction. Now, what ends up happening is, if you think through this, the buyer's problem is the last problem. And most people begin with this as being the first problem, meaning that I get approached a lot that says, I don't want to do marketing because I need to get buyers first. And it's actually the reverse. Some people teach, go talk to the buyers first. But what I have found is that a buyer will tell you, I would love this amazing 3-2, 1,700 square feet, and you'll never find that property. You get a property that's a deal, and you talk to them, and it may not be the ideal candidate for them, like the type of property that they would love to have, but at the end, it's a deal, and they'll take it, end of story. And so then you have to put the buyer problem last, not first. If you're interested in fixing that first problem, which is probably your problem, which is lead generation, make sure you click the link in the description so that we can help you with that, number one. Number two is make sure to watch this video that'll pop up here or there. It's a complete little masterclass on the entire process of our nationwide wholesaling model. That way you can look at that model, see how it works, and maybe decide if that's a model for you.